What's up, y'all? You're checking out Living Corporate on YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell in that corner so you keep up to date with all the dope content we're creating here, driving real talk in the corporate world.
Therapy. It's been a release valve for me.
That's so incredible. You know, I recall being, and not, of course, I'm not a woman, right? I do not have a uterus, so I did not bring my daughter into the world. But I remember my first daughter being born at the beginning of the pandemic, and I remember just the world being what it was. I remember seeing George Floyd. My daughter was an infant, right, when that murder happened, and I remember having a renewed sense of purpose and focus. Grief also, though, like this immense grief.
Yeah.
At that. And then, you know, just how small the world is. I think, you know, they talk about 6 degrees separation for most people. You know, like black folks are more like 2.5, 3 degrees. And so, like, what was crazy about that situation was, and I believe I've shared this before on Living Corporate, like on record. So my father lived a couple miles away from George Floyd's killer.
Oh, wow.
And then my siblings and everybody, they live up in Minnesota. George Floyd was in ministry with people that I was in direct ministry with when he lived in Houston. So it was just so sad, right? And just and it felt extremely personal and visceral because it's someone, you know, it's like, man, that could happen. And then, you know, my dad's talking about all the protests. He's seen the cars driving by his place. They protesting this dude's house over here. My siblings wanting to go to the protest, and my dad's having arguments with them about being safe. And so it's just a lot going on, you know. But there's something, though, I will say, the reason I said the whole thing about just God being on your life, and I do got these. Oh, I'm about to turn it up because it's crazy. Like, that's insane. Like, you took a job, but then went back to General Mills and they paid. You still work at General Mills, but you over here.
Yeah, they pay me. And so that's, you know, when you ask the question of how I got here, I have to know that this is divine, that I was meant to be here.
100%. I'm more of a default. Yeah, that's more my range. But so for in the future, as if I'm called to hoop again, I'll be ready. Okay. So, but the point for me, though, is like, there's something about leveraging your voice, right? And to your, like, honoring the legacy of your mother, and the legacy that you're handing to your son. Because that's bold. That's bold to say, hey, I really want to do this. Because I would say my pushback to you is, still is absolutely, like, you should go somewhere where you're celebrated and where people are going to see all of you. Yes. You're probably, honestly though, Tiffany, one of the few people I've had on Living Corp without airing nobody out that is being fully who is being supported in that way. Like, that is so rare, right? You don't know, I can't tell you how many countless incredible, brilliant Black and brown minds, and white minds too, because y'all be thinking we don't talk to white people at Living Corporate. We talk to everybody. Relax. All right. How many brilliant minds we've had on the network across our shows who are not really supported. Yes. Right? Who are chiefs in name, but like senior managers in practice, and levels of support. And so, you know, that's just incredible. So you're in this role, you're in this function, and we talk about, like, the Business Coalition for Racial Equity, the Minnesota Business Coalition for Racial Equity. What does your job look like? Like, the goals? Yeah. Like, what are you trying to achieve? Especially, you know, we're recording this at the top of 2024. As you look at 2024, in this election year, the landscape of DEI, and frankly, any word that has D, E, or I in it, is under massive scrutiny. And like, what are your goals right now? What are you trying to do?
So let me start with just kind of grounding in what the coalition is and what we do. So the Minnesota Business Coalition for Racial Equity is a consortium of large corporations and organizations that are either headquartered in the state of Minnesota or that have large operations here. Minnesota is the home to a lot of Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies. So there's a lot of corporate power and kind of economic influence here in the state of Minnesota. And this coalition was formed, in the weeks following the murder of George Floyd, in the midst of this racial uprising, really as a recognition that the business community both could and should be doing more to positively impact the lives of Black Minnesotans. Minnesota has some of the most stark disparities between Black residents and white residents. Choose your dimension. You want to talk about household income. You want to talk about home ownership. You want to talk about the opportunities that our children have in the schools. Whatever it is, our Black residents and our white residents, there is a very stark difference.